barrier and just sieging up and knocking out the hatcheries. And what he wants to do is just be a bit more aggressive here with the clouds. Just chuck them right on top of the siege tanks and running the lurkers in as quick as you can. Is getting some Zerglings now. Pretty good idea in my opinion, because it's just the heavy tank use by the Terran. The Zerglings are much quicker able to get into short range and actually cause some real problems with the tanks, which are sieged up. Terran player quite cleverly trying the expansion thing again. The Zerg player's got some overlords to scout it. Just noticed there that he's got a dropship full of Marines and medics, but perhaps he might have forgotten about it because it's just lingering around in the air next to his expansion. He hasn't done anything with it. So we'll see if anything comes of that later. But all minerals mined out at the Terran base, all the natural expansion's gone, so he has to keep the expansion up at the 12 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Zerg's got plenty of bases. Looks like he might actually be able to take out the siege force, which is not good news for the Terran, because he'll be able to then move out into the middle of the map and actually start harassing the Terran's expansion. If that goes down, then it could be GG, as they say, for the Terran player. Still got that dropship full of Marines. If he had remembered about that, he might have been able to just pull off a drop into the Terran base. Zerg player using the Defiler and the Swarm just to go for his main rather than going for his expansion. Maybe he hasn't decided to go for it yet, or maybe it's just because of the 4 or 5 tanks that he's got up there. But let's see, Raptor, yeah, 4 or 5 tanks in a bunker. That one's going to be a tough nut to crack. So maybe thought he'd just go in for the main and try and just wipe it out, prevent the Terran from reinforcing himself while he just used his expansion to stock up on more units. Plenty of Zerg forces here, but again, just the Terran, Jack's position has always been really good. He's always been able to get the higher ground. He's always been able to get the tanks sieged up in just the right places. The science vessels seem to be showing up at just the right time, every time, just to eventually irradiate the Defilers and continue, preventing them from continuing this cloud push straight into the Terran base. And you might have just noticed with the buildings there, the Terran player has used 3 factories, which is unusual, but just because of the sheer number of lurkers and Hydralisks is not too bad an idea. But usually what you see is 2 factories in a game like this against Hydra Lurker. But he's opted for one starport pumping science vessels and 3 factories with tanks. I'm surprised he hasn't got an armory as well to upgrade them, but alright, time now for a Raptor to try and take out Jack's expansion here. He's got the Defiler hidden in a Overlord, and the lurkers are there to shoot the tanks, but the vessel comes in. What we see here is the Overlord irradiated, and it's got a Defiler inside it. So just check out what happens here. Drops the Defiler, and the other Overlord actually has picked up the Defiler, and he loses the other Overlord, but that was fairly quick thinking there. Obviously, he didn't need to carry it around in the Overlord. He could have just ran it away, but he decided he wanted to keep it in the Overlord just for more mobility, I guess, and he still got it here, and he's easily able to pull a surprise drop, and the Terran player won't realize that the Defiler is in there until too late, and he will have got a cloud off before the Terran players had an opportunity to irradiate him. So heaps of Zerglings running in now, just rushing around, flanking the Jack's Terran forces here, and pretty much dealt with that siege. So got an opportunity now to put some pressure on the Terran player Jack over here. Expansion is still going strong, but one thing that we may be noticing here is that the Zerg player, we've got Raptor here, who just hasn't ever been able to get an extremely large amount of Zerg forces, and they've always just been in piecemeal. Finally, the dropship shows up and actually tries to drop some forces into space, but he's too quick. Plenty of reinforcements there to prevent that from happening, and we've got a small dropship force. A small Overlord force up the top of the map here. I'm not sure what he's doing with it. He's just roaming around, maybe looking for a weakness. Hasn't decided that Jack's left any vulnerabilities in his base layout yet, and we see a turret going up, so that'll make it even harder to sort of get some airlifted forces in there. Instead, we're going for the ramp, but science vessels on hand to radiate. But he did get 3 clouds off, and Hydralisks will be able to stand to that cloud. But the thing is, the Hydralisks, the range just isn't quite long enough to knock out the command center, and before long the clouds will be dispersed, and there we see it there. and he doesn't have any backup defilers. So even when the Terran player goes to scan, everything's just gone. So maybe if he had more defilers, maybe in reserve, he might have been able to do that. Vultures laying mines down. Now, always a good move against defilers and lurkers, but not so good against hydralisks and overlords. And fairly good play by the Zerg player there, not standing for that, taking out the mines straight away. Still only 3 expansions from the Zerg player, and soon we might see the Terran player Jack take an expansion up the top left. But for now, his one base is holding him, and large force coming down here. It's great macro from Jack, really, just consistently bringing out the tanks and Marines. Doesn't actually need that many Marines because he hasn't been able to fend off that many Zerglings. And there we have it. A Terran player taking another expansion at the top left, so this could be decisive, taking out some more minerals, keeping up that macro management, and soon the Terran forces will just be too many in number for the Zerg player to deal with. No matter how many swarms he's got there protecting his base, he'll just won't be able to keep it up because defilers do cost a lot of gas. The same with the hydralisks and lurkers, and the Zerg player in the long run will run out of gas if he's not getting more and more expansions. So things looking pretty strong here for the Terran player. Zerg player, as long as he's got those swarms, he's going to be safe, but it's just a matter of not being able to take out his opponent. And we get a small hydralisk drop, but that was a pretty pathetic drop. As you can see, we've got an orange command center up there just because there was a couple of people observing this game as Terran, and they weren't in observer mode and just had to lift off. Right, we've got swarm going down, even more forces for the Terran. So what's been a very good game looks like it's drawing to a close now, because we just got more and more Terran forces streaming, and he's been very careful with them, just backing off every time he sees a cloud. It's what you've got to do when you see cloud go down, is just keep backing off and cutting losses, and then just coming back in after the defilers are irradiated. And that's just what Jack has been able to do this entire game. And he's just been able to secure those expansions. He's managed to not lose his home base and having to rebuild everything. And the Zerg player's just been on the run for the entire game and just hasn't been able to inflict just as much damage as Jack has been able to. So Raptor just trying for a last-ditch attempt here, bringing out the swarms. But even though swarms go down, just wasn't able to take them out. And there we go. That's the end of the game there. Hope you enjoyed that. This has been another audio commentary by Vor, looking to a lot of games like this in future. But thanks for watching this one.